Hey guys, and what is up? It's your boy Tise here. A few years ago, I reviewed all of the main Mega Drive Sonic the Hedgehog games, from Sonic 1 up to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, though I never got round to reviewing the long-awaited successor to those games. So in today's video, I'll be reviewing the one and only Sonic Mania. Anyway, without further ado, let's get right into the review. Sonic Mania is a long-awaited sequel that manages to perfectly replicate the magic of its ancient predecessors and then some. Developed by Christian Whitehead and Headcanon, the same folks behind the 2013 mobile remasters of Sonic 1 and 2, with the former also being responsible for the 2011 Sonic CD remaster, as well as also having been developed by Pagoda West Games and released in 2017 for all major platforms at the time. Sonic Mania is a fast-paced 2D platformer where you blast your way through various different levels of old and new as either Sonic or one of his pals Tails or Knuckles, as you pursue the evil Dr. Eggman who's got his hands on an all-powerful gemstone named the Phantom Ruby, while also butting heads with an elite group of badniks called the Hard-Boiled Heavies, who've been supercharged by the power of the Phantom Ruby. Much like the original Mega Drive Sonic games, you'll run, jump and roll your way through several different zones, with there being a total of 12 full zones, making the game just about as large as Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Every zone in Sonic Mania is split into 2 acts, with you having to make your way through each act and face the many bosses that lie at the end of them, in order to beat Sonic Mania's levels and progress through the game. Sonic Mania plays identically to the early Mega Drive games, with you running through zones at high speeds while also gaining as much momentum as you can, so you can run even faster, collecting every ring you see to keep yourself protected from hazards, and bashing every badnik you come across, as well as performing the occasional platforming challenge and exploring the layout of the levels for hidden goodies like shields, temporary power-ups and extra lives. For the most part, Sonic Mania has excellent level design, with almost every level being as expansive as the levels of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, with lots of routes and pathways, as well as hidden secrets and areas, as well as a healthy balance of fast-paced Sonic action and traditional platforming. Sonic Mania honestly just has the most refined level design of any Sonic game, and there aren't any moments or levels in the game that I dread playing, unlike in almost every other Sonic game. Just like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you can take control of either Sonic or his 2 buddies, Tails and Knuckles, with each of them sharing the same basic moveset, with them all being able to run fast and pick up more and more speed, as well as jump, roll and spin dash. And they also all have their own unique abilities to make them stand out from one another. For example, Sonic is the fastest of the 3, and he can take full advantage of the returning Elemental Shield's powers. Tails can fly for short periods of time and can swim underwater, and Knuckles can climb up walls and glide through the air, as well as be able to access areas that the other 2 can't get to. Sonic Mania also introduces a brand new and really cool move for Sonic called the Drop Dash, which lets Sonic take off in a mini spin dash right after he lands from a jump. This move can help you get through the levels as Sonic even faster than in the previous Mega Drive games, and it can also be really useful for speedruns too. Sonic Mania's list of zones mostly includes remixed versions of past zones from the original Mega Drive games, with them featuring rearranged and entirely new level design, as well as new gimmicks and updated visuals to make the stages feel fresh again, similar to what Sonic Generations did with its reimagining levels from Sonic's past. Though there are a couple of entirely brand new zones in Sonic Mania, which for the most part are fantastic and are the absolute highlight of the game, though I really wished that the new zones took up more than just a third of the game and that they weren't outnumbered 2 to 1 by the returning zones. As I've mentioned earlier, each act of every zone in Sonic Mania ends with a boss fight, where you'll face off against either Dr. Eggman or one of his mechs, or one of the Hard-Boiled Heavies. In these fights, you'll usually need to land 6 to 8 hits on the boss, while also figuring out its attack pattern and avoid getting hit by its attacks. And for the most part, these bosses are alright, with some of them being seriously really good, though some of them are also pretty crap. Though it's not like the bosses were ever a strong suit of the original Mega Drive games, so I'll let it pass. Aside from the main acts and zones, Sonic Mania also has special stages much like the original Mega Drive games. with the means of entering them being just like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, where you have to locate giant ring portals that are hidden all throughout the game's levels, with nearly every act having multiple of them, giving you tons of chances to attempt and clear all of the special stages. The special stages themselves are also the best special stages of any Sonic game, with them being actually really fun and challenging without being a complete hassle to do. In Sonic Mania's special stages, you'll need to chase down a UFO in a fully 3D environment, while also collecting rings to avoid running out of time, collecting blue spears to increase your speed, and also avoiding hazards and keeping yourself on the map. Once you catch up to a UFO, you'll nab the Chaos Emerald that it's holding onto and clear the special stage, and if you can do that 7 times and get all of the Chaos Emeralds, then the character that you're playing as can transform into the Super State within regular levels once you've gotten 50 rings, with said character becoming super fast and invincible to most hazards for as long as you can keep the ring counter above 0, as turning super drains you of your rings. And also, just like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, there's a secret final boss which you can only access by getting all of the Chaos Emeralds as Sonic and beating the game. As well as the special stages, there's also bonus stages which you can access by activating checkpoints while you're holding onto at least 25 rings, and jumping into a portal of stars just like how you would enter bonus stages in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And the bonus stages themselves are exactly the same as Sonic 3 and Knuckles special stages, where you need to run into blue spears while avoiding red ones, with the speed of the stages progressively getting faster the more time you spend in them, and latter bonus stages having completely new and challenging layouts that weren't in Sonic 3 and Knuckles special stages. Though instead of earning Chaos Emeralds by completing these bonus stages, you'll earn medallions which will unlock extra content, like Sonic's Super Peel Out and Insta-Shield moves from Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles respectively, the ability to have Knuckles tag along with you even if you're already playing as Knuckles, the Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine minigame, and also a debug mode. Aside from the main game, Sonic Mania also has a time attack mode where you can replay any previously beaten stage to get faster times, as well as a split screen competition mode similar to that of Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles, where you can race a friend to the finish on a good chunk of the game's levels. There's also a DLC expansion for Sonic Mania, which was made with the help of Hyperkinetic Studios, which came out almost a year after the game's initial release, with the DLC expansion including 2 new playable characters, an expanded competition mode, and a new Encore mode which lets you play through the main game again but with a different live system, a new type of bonus stage, and new colour palettes for each level. I've never picked up this DLC expansion though, as its few new pieces of content has never interested me enough into buying it, and most of the new colour palettes for the levels in the Encore mode look like crap. In terms of presentation, Sonic Mania is a stunning looking pixel art game with lots of detail in its many sprites and level backdrops, as well as tons of variation with its use of colours and a slick and simple user interface. The sound effects are also alright, with the game containing all the sounds that you'd hear while playing the original Mega Drive games, as well as new sound effects which fit in nicely with the old ones. And the soundtrack of the game, which was mainly composed by T. Lopes, is absolutely stellar, with it featuring tons of amazing remixes of older Sonic game tracks, as well as some excellent new tracks too. It's honestly one of the best OSTs of any Sonic game, right up there with Sonic Unleashes. All in all, Sonic Mania is a fantastic game which manages to capture the magic of playing the original Mega Drive Sonic the Hedgehog games extremely well, while also bringing the formula of those older games to a more modern standard, with its new features and improvements, stunning pixel art visuals and a stellar soundtrack, as well as some really good boss fights and great special stages, and the excellent level design that's contained throughout the entire game. What Sonic Mania lacks in originality, with only 4 out of its 12 zones being entirely original, it makes up for in almost every other department in spades. And even though Sonic Unleashed is my favourite game of all time, I would be lying if I didn't say that I think Sonic Mania is objectively the best Sonic game of all time. Heck, even better than Sonic 3 and Knuckles. If you've never played Sonic Mania before, then I'd highly recommend you get it. Even if you think the Sonic series has become a joke, this game is one of the few very stellar exceptions of recent Sonic games. So yeah, that was my review of Sonic Mania, an absolutely amazing game and in my opinion the best Sonic game of all time. Anyway guys, thank you for watching my video, I really appreciate it, and if you enjoyed watching this video then I'm glad you enjoyed watching it too. Anyway, I'll see you all later in the next video. Peace out guys.